strike up the band, clang the cymbals, beat the drums. This is the Reach Higher recognition event. I'm glad you're here, and I'm proud to be here with you. And I join Chancellor Glenn Johnson in commending all Reach Higher students and graduates. Reach Higher students and graduates. I also want to commend Reach Higher coordinators, navigators, and faculty members. Educators Impact Eternity. Chancellor Glenn Johnson's wife, Melinda, she is a school teacher. My wife, a school teacher. My son, a school. Anyway, you get the point. Educators Impact Eternity. I love and respect and believe in anybody that wants to be a teacher. Okay? The Reach Higher Adult Degree Completion Initiative is at the very core, the very heart of what we do in the world of higher ed regents. Think about that. You're what we're all about. We're all about enroll, retain, and graduate. Enroll, retain, and graduate. And look, it takes a while sometimes to graduate. I've got 3 children. They've all graduated from various colleges around this state, but it took a while. It took a while. I'm going to tell you more about that a little bit later. Chancellor Johnson has given me the authority, the opportunity to talk about just a little bit of life philosophy. I just can't help myself, just a touch, okay? So first of all, I actually have an exhibit with me. This is a carpenter's level. I keep that on my desk. It's a carpenter's level. It's a small carpenter's level to remind me at all times to live a balanced life as much as possible. A balanced life between work and life, a balance, right? So my life philosophy in that regard is a funny bone, a backbone, and a wishbone. And Chancellor Johnson, you've heard me say this, and you helped me with it. A funny bone, a backbone, and a wishbone. I'll slow down. A funny bone's a sense of humor. A backbone's a sense of courage. And a wishbone is a sense of idealism, okay? So what about a funny bone? Very quickly, Shakespeare said, show me a man who never makes a joke, and I'll show you a man who stands as a joke to the whole world. In other words, you got to have a sense of humor. Self-directed humor. You can't take yourself too seriously on the road of life, folks. You figured that out already, and I have too. And I'm just telling you, you got to have that balance. Now, what really works for me, and most philosophers say, it has to be self-directed humor. So let me try this out on you. 1889 was the great land run in Oklahoma, right? We've all studied about the land run. I like to say that my family came to Oklahoma in a covered wagon, okay? If you'd have seen my family, you'd have known why the wagon was covered. Oh, I need a drum roll there. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to be funny, but that's self-directed humor. I spent $100 to research my family tree. Once I saw it, I spent $500 to cover it up. That's an example of self-directed humor. Should I go on? One more example, high school. I'm in high school. In high school, they called me the honor student. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. I was in juvenile court, you see what I'm saying? Okay. And then I went out for the basketball team and they called me the Minuteman. I kept saying, Coach, can I play? He said, in a minute, man, just sit down and be quiet. Okay. More recently, ladies and gentlemen, I've joined the senior golf tour. On the senior golf tour, you play 3 holes and whoever remembers their score wins. So is that funny? If it is funny, it's an example of self-directed humor. We have to be laugh at ourselves. Laugh at ourselves, right? Don't take it too seriously. If we take it too seriously, we internalize the pressure. We perforate our stomach. We tighten up our chest. It's not good for our health. Funny bone, a sense of humor. Backbone's a sense of courage. Simply put, the courage to do what we believe is right. You know this. I know this. We all do in life. The courage to do what we believe is right. And we have the courage to do what we believe is right. We get a reward. The reward is self-respect. We feel good about who we are, right? And I like to say we can be alone without being lonely if you have self-respect. I even tell young people you can be alone without being lonely even on a Saturday night if you feel good about who you are. You know, the courage to say no when people lean on you to do something that you know is wrong. I got a book here. I'm not going to go crazy on book reviews, but here's a book. It's called The Road to Character. I believe character is destiny. The Road to Character by David Brooks. He simply says in that book, the premise is resume virtues and eulogy virtues. In our lives, we have resume virtues and eulogy virtues. A resume virtue is reach higher, get a degree, add to your resume, right? That's a resume virtue. Congratulations. A eulogy virtue is what they'll talk about at our funeral, like faithfulness, like courage, like compassion, like dedication. Those are eulogy virtues. So life is all about resume virtues and eulogy virtues. And I dare say tonight, we're celebrating the fact that you have added to your resume virtues. In your life, continue to add to your eulogy virtues, what they'll say about you and me and all of us at our funerals, because life is in fact terminal, right? And so to live an extraordinary life, I think we have to focus on resume virtues as you are and eulogy virtues as well. So a funny bone's a sense of humor, a backbone's a sense of courage, and a wishbone's a sense of idealism. Think about that. You got to believe in we instead of me. We're all fellow travelers on the spaceship Earth, right? Think about this last year, this tough last year, 2020, the pandemic. 7 billion people on the planet were all in this thing together. We were all adversely affected. Shared vulnerability, right? Shared humanity, right? 7 billion people on the planet. We all went through this together. Golly, what a year. We all got to believe in we instead of me. We're fellow travelers on the spaceship Earth. And I dare say, we're all members of the multi-ethnic family of humankind. Think about that. The multi-ethnic family of humankind. We got to affirm our diversity, our inclusion, our equity. We got to affirm those qualities. And I like to believe that every one of us is touched with a divine spark of infinite goodness. We're all touched with a divine spark of infinite goodness, okay? And just be kind to each other. That's my words here this evening. But I have one other thing to show you. And looky here. That's a compass. That's also on my desk, a compass, okay? So why do I have that on my desk? To remind me of my North Star, to remind me of what's your North Star? What's my North Star, right? What helps us make life decisions, for God's sakes? And that's the Mike Turpen 4F Club. Susan and I taught Sunday school here at our church, at Westminster Presbyterian Church. And in Sunday school, I always talk to the students, the confirmation class, the students about the 4Fs, faith, family, and friends. All that matters in life, seriously, faith, family, and friends, right? Your faith, I wouldn't begin to preach to you about that. That's very personal. We all decide ourselves. I would say separate the ever fleeting from the everlasting, right? I would say don't be a spiritual spectator. Whatever your faith is, work on it. And it needs to be a part of your life. So faith. How about family? I love my family. You love your family. I like to say, here I am back to self-directed humor. Susan and I have a perfect marriage. I don't try to run her life, and I don't try to run mine either. Is that funny? I mean, think about that. That's a good marriage. She's the CEO of the Turpen household, and she takes care of most everything. Faith, family, and friends. Folks, I ran for Attorney General in the state of Oklahoma, and I won. My slogan was, it's time for Turpen. It's Turpen time. I won. I was Attorney General of the state of Oklahoma after being district attorney in Muskogee. Well, I think I'll run for governor. I ran for governor and got beat, right? Turpen time was over. When I got beat for governor, a few good friends came walking in when everybody else went walking out. So my life lesson for you and for me is don't ever walk past an old friend to shake hands with a new friend, right? New associates are great, but don't ever forget those old friends. Dance with the one who brung you, right? Okay. Now, the point is, in the Sunday school class, somebody would always say, Mr. Turpen, you said faith, family, friends, and the 4Fs. To support your faith, to take care of your family, and to have fun with your friends, you got to make money. You got to get a degree. You got to get a job. You got to make money, right? The more you learn, the more you earn, right? That's what this evening's all about. Faith, family, friends, and of course, finances. Finances. How you balance those four is the opportunity of life, the challenge of life, the quandary of life. Faith, family, friends, and of course, finances. So I wanted to share that with you this evening. My carpenter's level, my compass, my North Star. Those are just thoughts for you to think about as we continue to live our lives. And now I get to close it out with a very special story. And first of all, I want to say this. This evening is all about, as you know, a gathering of family and friends, and you get to thank all the people that have helped you. In the name of learning, earning, and yearning, you got your degree, and faith, family, friends, and finances, you're going to better support your family because the more you learn, the more you earn. In that regard, I have a personal story, and I'll close it out with a vignette because facts tell, but stories sell. That's what a friend told me long ago. Facts tell, but stories sell. If you're in sales, you know what I'm talking about. My son, Sean Turpen, at age 30, decided to go back. Oh, there he is. Thank you. Look at that beautiful picture. Sean decided to go back at age 30 and reach higher. Reach higher, Sean, reach higher. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Turpen had already gone to community college. He had already gone to the University of Central Oklahoma, but he decided to finish his degree at Oklahoma State University. Did he finish? Look at the picture. And that picture was taken by Glenn Johnson. I call it Photos by Glenn. Chancellor Glenn Johnson took that picture of Sean Turpen, Mike Turpen, and my good friend, President Burns Hargis at OSU. Isn't that beautiful? That picture symbolizes what we're here about this evening. Sean went back at age 30, finally got his college degree, and you know what? He felt good. He felt better philosophically. He felt better intellectually. He felt better economically. And that night in Stillwater, we had a reception for him, and all the family and friends came by and patted him on the back and encouraged him to keep, moving forward, but, congratulating him for what he achieved. He achieved a college degree. That's what this evening's all about: happiness, joy, and achievement. And I think that picture, captures it perfectly. Late that night, we're back home in Oklahoma City from Stillwater, and son Sean Michael Turpen says to me, "Dad, I think that's the single greatest day of my life." A college degree, the celebration that night, all of us together. And that's what this evening's all about. Reach higher recognition right here. I know it's online, but it's high tech, it's high touch. We're all in this thing together. Congratulations to you and your family and your support team, all the people around you. Look what you've accomplished. We're so proud of you. And I'm going to turn it back to the one and only Chancellor Glenn Johnson. Thank you, Chancellor. Have a good evening.